I'm Rachel Alday, and this is the Hospitality Breakroom, a podcast full of nuggets and secret sauce, where every Monday we'll shed light on what we've learned from the countless mistakes we've made along our journey in the chaotic and rewarding world of vacation rentals. Hi, and welcome back to the Hospitality Breakroom. I'm Rachel Alday, and today I have Tuti with me. Tuti has been with Abode for how long?
3 years and a
3
half.
years. Okay. She's done, so much in 3
Mhm.
years. It's kind of mind-blowing. I feel like Tuti is our poster child for the Abodian way of, hiring and, not being too, prescription-based when it comes to someone's career path. Like, we try to leave it super open. So I'm gonna let Tuti talk about how she started with Abode and what her career path has been before we get into asking her some questions. So go ahead.
So I started at about in 2021. Um, I applied for the intern position for marketing, and I was an intern for 3-4 months with another intern that she
Yeah.
was actually in school. I was just checking out
Sarah, right? Was it
Sarah.
Sarah?
Yeah,
Yeah, I love Sarah too.
and I I applied for the marketing because I wasn't doing marketing before. I went to design
Oh,
school,
yeah.
so I wanted to learn more about if I really like marketing, if that's something that I'm interested. So I was like, might as well just try
Yeah.
as an intern,
Oh,
right?
wait,
With
and
no
tell them
commitment.
how you knew about Abode.
So my father-in-law, Mark, that he was in one of the episodes,
Yes.
he was like, "Oh, they're actually looking for an intern for marketing," and I was like, "Oh, that works." So I pretty much had a 15-minute call with Lauren, which she was the
Marketing
marketing,
manager, I think, at the
yeah, at
time.
that time,
Yeah.
yeah. And she was like, "Well, when can you start?" And I was like, "Well, tomorrow." And she's like,
Uh-huh.
"Oh, give me 1 minute. Like, I would need like a week to get everything set up, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, just let me know."
I think you were the first person that Lauren brought on. Lauren worked with us for, 8 years, I think.
Yeah.
She worked with Abode for a long time doing marketing, and I think but you were the first person maybe that she had hired directly underneath her, on her own, right? I
Well,
think.
she had interns
Oh, other interns.
before,
Okay, okay.
like seasonal interns.
Yeah.
So they will stay for 3-4 months
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, I remember
just
that.
to help with the admin stuff.
Yeah.
And I think she had like 3 rounds of interns
Yeah.
until I got into the
You're right.
intern position and I decided to stay.
Yeah, and they were, shorter too. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because mostly they were doing it for school
Uh-huh,
credits.
that's right. Mhm.
And I was like, well, I actually like this. So
Yeah,
I will stay. And that's when I was given like the marketing manager role,
yeah,
which gave me more responsibilities on making like strategy decisions and being more into the analytical side of it.
yeah,
Because before I was just doing content and like updating listings and things like that.
yeah.
Um, so with the marketing position, I started working more with the concierge because I was creating more like
Mhm.
the books for the concierge or the menus and updating the website and working super close with concierge like
Yeah,
pretty much every week.
yeah.
And a lot of issues start coming up about like our process with the concierge
Mhm.
department. And that was taking a lot of my time because I was like, "Oh, let me help, let me help."
Yeah.
And eventually it became a whole different role for me
Uh-huh.
when I started doing more of uh at the beginning it was, I think we call it like project
Uh-huh,
manager.
we did, we called her project manager.
And
Yeah.
then it kind of evolved to business project manager because
Uh-huh,
then I started getting more into accounting
uh-huh. Well,
and
because at one point, Judy was saying, "Oh, what I wanna do is I wanna do, data," right? It was something with,
yeah,
analytics.
I want to do
And
more
so,
data.
Brad on our team, who's been on the show, he, does, revenue management,
Mhm.
and he's a director now, and, but he's really good at revenue management and, data analytics, and so then at one point, Tootie was gonna maybe wanna work with him, and so this is, a good time to, I guess, segue we need to finish Tootie's story, but, at Abode, I've always been adamant that I don't I forget what this is called, career pathing,
Mhm.
really specific banded career pathing, because I feel like when I worked for McDonald's, Coca-Cola stuff, it was you could do, this one career path but depending on what your job was, then there was, a prescripted is that the right word? I don't know if that's the right word. There was, a
Defined.
defined, career path where it was like, "Oh, you have this job? Okay, like, this is the next job, and then this one, and then from
Mhm.
there, you could go here or here." But then if you wanted to, like, veer off of that, you just couldn't. And
Mhm.
then so, like, one time there was a job I wanted, and they were like, "Oh, well, that's not in your career path," and I was like, "Well, who cares? I wanted to try, I wanna interview for it," and they were
Yeah.
like, "No." And so, I really never wanted that to happen at Abode because I wanted for people to, like, be able to come into the company wherever they come in, whatever role, and then be able to, like, learn about different parts of the business. And then if they're like, "Oh, I wanna, I don't know, move to Jackson Hole," or like, "I wanna work on," like, if they're working in operations and then they wanna work in concierge or whatever, that we have those opportunities available. So Tuti is like the poster child for someone who came in as an intern and then tried, like, a few different things and then really found, like, her niche. And really now she's, like, a jack of all trades, and it's just been, like, really, really successful for her and for Abode. But anyway, okay, I'll let her keep going. So she came in as an intern,
Yeah.
and then, she was working in marketing,
Yes.
and, then she ended up really getting involved with the concierge stuff because we did not have great concierge process. All these years, it's
Not at
been
all.
16. Yeah, we basically had no concierge process, nor software, nor task management, which is insane because we've done $2 million in a year in concierge, which is crazy, but we do really high numbers in concierge
Yeah, everything out of a spreadsheet.
out of a spreadsheet, which really is a testament to some of the people that have worked with us
Oh,
in
yeah.
concierge. There was a guy named Sam who worked with us for years who did gangbusters, like amazing numbers in concierge. We had someone named Kim a while back. We even worked with Key Concierge, which is now called Key.co. It's one of the vendors in our industry. And but way back when they first started, we worked with them. So our whole concierge thing has been something that we've focused on, but really had to like we've had a winding road to get to where we are today. And we'll get into this later. Like we'll talk about the concierge tool that Tuti has helped create and develop that might even be out there in the world for anyone to use soon. Um, but part of her getting to that was she was in marketing. She was working on concierge, basically like concierge marketing pieces, like emails or in-house booklets to explain, like menus to explain the services to guests. And so, okay, that's where we left off. So she was working on that.
Yeah, and then eventually, um, the volume in the concierge department, it was so big
Mhm.
that even for one person, it was a lot.
Yeah,
So, um, there were some accounting issues that they will fall through the cracks because
because
there was no way to, like, track back
no
and
tool except for a spreadsheet.
exactly. So, I started doing more accounting. I learned how to charge guests in
Uh-huh.
Streamline. I came here to do marketing, and I was charging guests in
Yes,
Streamline.
this is true. Tootie basically found out through her work with the concierge team and marketing, she had found out that we were sometimes not charging the guest and definitely
Exactly.
not charging people like in a timely manner because we were leaving that to our concierge person and they had too much volume that they were doing. They couldn't keep up. So then Tootie was like, went in to like figure out, assess the situation and solve it and like get us up to date, but then kind of got sucked in and was stuck in that role doing that for
A year.
years? A year. Okay, yeah. Okay,
Well,
keep
2
going.
seasons
Yeah.
for sure. And that kinda led me to we started having this conversation that we need a software, and
Mhm.
we tried Trip Around, and it
And we
was
love Trip Around and we love
yeah,
Antonis. We love them. If you need a concierge software, which everyone does,
I highly recommend yeah.
yeah, if you think just doing upsells is enough, it is not. Doing concierge is a huge way to create more revenue and to make your guests happier. So I could be on that soapbox all day long, but we won't do that. But Trip Around is currently the best software that's being marketed out there for vacation rentals
Yes.
for concierge. So we did try it. It wasn't perfect for us, but we love the team and we love um we love what they're selling. It just had some areas that wouldn't really work for us.
And it talks a lot about their company, that they're eager to work it out,
Mhm.
and even for us, we tested for a year. We, tried to upload everything in there, and we started testing it, like, we realized that we needed something more custom for, like, the type of clientele that we have,
Yeah.
and we decided to like give it a break, and then they reach out back to us, and now we're going to be testing it like
Oh,
in
cool.
November to just be able to give more feedback to them because they had already done so many like changes
Mhm.
for this last year
Yeah.
that of feedback that we were able to provide for them.
Yeah.
So it just tells like what a good company they
Oh,
are.
yeah, they're making progress, like, they're heading in the right direction, and, for our needs, because we have done high volume of concierge, like, We've booked a lot of concierge services for our guests over the years and created a ton of revenue from it. Um, Not revenue that we were able to maximize as a company because we ended up spending a lot as part of our journey to understand concierge better. But regardless,
Yeah.
um, because we did so much concierge over the years, I think, we we have sort of a specific need because a lot of companies are just starting to try to utilize concierge within their business, like versus an upsell thing, which is totally different. Um, and so I think what we want in terms of a tool for concierge, there's more depth to what we want than what most people want. And so I think our ask is a big ask when it comes to
Oh
like
yeah.
Trip Around. So again, it's not to say that Trip Around does not have a good product because they have the best one out there. It's just that especially Tuti has done so much work on understanding the financial side of concierge and the way that it works to sell it and to track the sales and the tasks that it's like she just knows too much. And so it's like she just needs something really specific. Okay. So Tuti spent a year. We paid for Trip Around for a year,
Yeah.
and Tuti spent a year working with them, like not every day, but probably close to it.
Yeah.
Um, fine-tuning how we could possibly make their tool work. So in that, she did like a massive deep dive into what we would actually need
For concierge to
for
work.
concierge. Yeah, and also she did a deep dive on their product and helping them,
Yeah.
figure out how they could make it better. Okay, so we're leaving off at the next part is where so Tootie had worked with,
This is Tootie
Trip
story.
Around. She had worked with Trip Around
Yeah.
for like a year, and then we were like, "Okay, it's probably not gonna work out right now," so we pulled the plug on that, and then what?
And I guess at that same time, I was still helping a bit of marketing
Uh-huh.
because we did hire Ashley for our marketing manager at
Yeah,
that moment. And Lauren became more of a brand side of
yeah,
the marketing department. Um, but I was still kind of like a tool that they were reach out
yeah.
to, like mediator between the
Uh-huh.
marketing and concierge.
Yeah,
And even that kind of became like a thing for communications too, because I will help
yeah.
when updating Breezeway messages. I will be doing that too.
Mhm.
I don't know. I will
Yeah,
just be randomly thrown to different places just to help
like
with
the conduit. Yeah.
yeah. Um yeah, and also I was helping with the accounting side. So that led me to be closer to the accounting and HR team
Yeah,
and work closely with them. And eventually, I don't know. I was just like given projects. So like
yeah,
after the concierge, um, we stopped using Trip Around and it was kind of like a stop for the concierge department. I
yeah.
started focusing more on the specific business projects.
Mhm,
I remember. So anything that each department would need, I
mhm.
will jump in and support from like a bigger understanding of the overall
Like
business.
process development.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
and, like,
doing
analyzing how things were working.
and understanding like different data, for example, like our expenses and like
Mhm.
each departments. And well, now we have a budget eventually,
Yeah.
like
We did not have budgets, you guys.
until this year. And
This
that's
is
like all Kira's work.
yeah,
But it kind of like it was also at the same time we were trying to figure it
it's
out,
true.
all that.
Because we as a company, Abode this is, like, shocking. Rob, my husband, always would say we have like, "Yeah, we have a budget." And by that, he meant, like, we would look at the numbers at the end of the year, and then we would assess what the budget goal would be for the next year, but it was, like, very broad and not granular at all, and really not a budget, like, we weren't setting goals, and so it was just within the past 18 months
Yeah.
that we came up with, like, a true budget process where we divided it all out amongst the different departments of the business, and we came up with, like, actual granular budgets for each line item, and then we let each director and or managers they have control over their own part of the budget and they have to meet their overall number, but they can work within that. That's a whole nother episode too. But anyway, so Tootie was here because that was a big process. Like she said, Kira, who does our accounting, like our bookkeeping, she's our controller. Um, Kira's the one that did a ton of work on that, but Tootie had so much parts in that because especially with the concierge piece. And we were doing a deep dive too on like understanding how much we were spending on concierge and where was the money, there was all this money coming in, but where was it going out? And just that was a complicated process to figure out
Yeah.
because we had kind of a wackadoo system that was not really a system from all the years.
For marketing too.
Yeah, it's
And
true. Well,
understanding
most parts of the business.
yeah, we were signing up for so many softwares that we actually never use
Uh-huh.
or use one time or
Yeah.
so it was kind of like starting to clean that up.
It was a huge project.
And then we have our retreat and
Yeah.
and I found out that I was gonna be a director. Someone
Yes.
was like, "Okay, so Tuti should be a director," and I was like, okay."
Okay, so Tuti so she was working on the concierge stuff and doing, like, project management is what we were calling it.
Yeah.
And then excuse me, and then, our last retreat last year, so we do an
This year.
annual yeah, this year, yeah, but
Yeah.
some of the most recent one,
Mhm.
we do an annual company retreat. We've always been doing it at this cool place called The Lodge at Red River Ranch. Is that right? The Lodge at I think it's called
It's
Red
Red
River
River.
Ranch.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's, Capitol Reef, Utah. It's gorgeous, it's spectacular. Google it, like, it's so good. Um, I think we've outgrown it because we have so many people that we have to, like, then have people stay somewhere else too. So that's, like, a whole thing because we gotta plan our next retreat. We do them in May, and I don't know, I'm still deciding, like, should we try and go somewhere else? Should we try and keep it there?
I
That's
don't
a
know, that
yeah,
place is so
I
special,
know.
though.
It is. It's you guys, it's the coolest place. Everyone needs to Google it. I hope I'm getting it right. The Lodge at Red River
I think
Ranch.
it is.
Okay. Um, so anyway, this last company retreat that we did, we came up with the plan. We wanted to add a director level at the company. We didn't really have a consistent, clear level of directors. We mostly just had some managers. And so we were building a director level. And so we did that with the team. We brought all the managers in.
Mhm.
So there was like, I don't know, 15 people.
Yes.
And so some of us went early to the retreat and we sat around in this like cafeteria. It's not a cafeteria, it's their dining room, and we, took Post-it notes
Yes.
with everyone's name, right?
Yeah.
I think we had, like, everyone's name, and then we went into, like, 5 groups, and we, had each group decide, like, what the org chart should look like. So knowing that we wanted to add a director level, we, like, made it a free-for-all and said, "Okay, how would you do it?"
Yeah.
It was a little more organized than that. We had some steps leading up to that. But
Yeah.
basically, we had Linny and Hart from Tandemly, the consultants that I always talk about. They obviously led this process and they were there leading the whole thing. But essentially, if you boil it down, everybody sat down in groups and came up with what they thought the org chart should look like. And then we presented to each other.
Yeah.
And so it ended up that it was clear that Tuti was going to be in a director role.
The thing is, during the retreat, I was just given marketing, branding, and possibly guest
Yeah.
services and concierge for
Uh
sure.
huh.
A few weeks go by, and Rob and Rachel sent an email saying like, "Okay, this is who the directors are going to be," and I had accounting, HR, our laundromat,
We
and
own a
our
laundromat where we do our linen processing in Park
and,
City.
and our Deer Valley Lodge Black Bear.
We do. We have a on-site we're the on-site manager at a condo development up, on the mountain at Deer Valley. Yeah.
Yeah. So from maybe 2 to 3 managers, it went up to 6 to 7.
Uh-huh.
And I remember I saw that email and I walked to Rob and I was like, "We need to talk about this. I'm going home now because I
Yeah.
need to cool down, but what is going on?"
We put a lot of people under Tuti, that's for sure.
And it's okay. It makes sense now, but at the moment it was really overwhelming.
Yeah, well, in 3 years, you went
It,
from being the intern to being the director with the most departments under you.
isn't that hilarious?
Yeah, it's, like, crazy. It's so Abode, though. It's like
It's
I feel
yeah,
like
that's
it's
really
so how we
about.
do things because it's like it's okay, one of our big values is deep roots grow, and I think that value was originally gonna be called family values,
Oh
which
god, that's a big red
I know.
flag.
I
Don't tell
wanted
that to a Gen Z.
I wanted something about family in our values because
Uh,
a lot of people that work here are family with each other, like Tootie and her father-in-law. And like my husband and I, and my sister works here, and just a lot of people were friends or family before they worked here. And I feel like we treat our clients like family. We treat each other, even if we're not related. We, try to treat each other like family. And so I wanted that to be part of our values. Anyway, it got turned into a more appropriate name for that, which is Deep Roots Grow. So that's
mhm.
our value for that. And it now is like even more perfect with 2D story because if you think about it, it's like if you think of a tree and roots and like the concept is if we encourage our team and our clients and everyone to have these deep roots where we care about each other and we give things time to like grow, that then the roots are really important and they're really strong. And that's like what makes the tree. And so that then as we grow as a business, we really try not to focus as much about like going outside and focusing on, the top of the tree and reaching out to the far reaches, but more staying with, I don't know, and this makes us sound insular, but like focusing on the roots of the business, like the people that have been here, the people that are family members with each other, the people that have shown their dedication to what we're doing and how much they care about the business, and then focusing on that and helping those people to grow, as much as we can. And that's like the exact story of Tuti, because it's like she came in, she was willing to do all these different things. She was willing to like try this, try that. And we gave her the freedom to do that, but it helped us as a business because she was, helping out different areas. And then when the time came for directors, it was like, okay, she can totally do this. And like, not only that, like really, we can give a lot to Tuti. And then Tuti was like, whoa, this is a
Chill.
lot. Which that happens a lot here too. Yeah.
Yeah. That's something that you have to learn to be able to like not boundaries in a bad way, but
No,
it's
good
kind of
way.
like a heads up.
Yeah.
You're taking like too much.
Yeah.
Like
It's
you're
a
gonna
small
burn me out.
business.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's always like so much. And so it's hard because when someone's like ready to go,
Yeah.
there's always like a fire hose ready to just shoot in any direction because there's always just so much. And so someone like Tuti, who had so much capability, and like really Tuti has such good management skills, which is
Thank
really
you.
hard. You're welcome. It's hard to come by. And not everybody has that. Not everybody wants to be a manager. Some people that want to be a manager like aren't great at it. And some people want to be a manager and they're really good at it. And that's Tuti, as it turns out. And so we were like, hallelujah. And so, yeah, we went a little crazy, but I think it's working out. We're still figuring it out, but
Yeah.
so yeah. Okay. So,
It's a
okay. So
learning
Tuti
process.
finds out about her director roles. Okay. And
And
then what?
that's my life now.
And no, she's really been running with it. And she's really good at a lot of the stuff that I think my husband and I are not good at, which is like sort of tactical management and being a good, efficient manager of people, like being able to understand what needs to get done and to help guide them to get it done on
Yeah.
time, and um to be like a good leader with feedback and be constructive. And
I f-
that's a hard thing to be good at, and you're good at it.
I feel like the logical part comes too natural for me.
Mm.
So and sometimes I have to step back when I hear someone like in the one-on-ones
Yeah.
saying, I'm struggling with this. For me, it's like, okay, let's fix it.
Yeah.
But sometimes I have to step back and be like, you have to be empathetic. Remember that.
Yeah. And let them try to help them
Sometimes,
figure it out.
and that's a good technique that I heard one time is like, you have to ask the person, do you want me to help you fix it or listen to you?
Yeah. I
And
do that with my husband all the time.
and that's
And he
such
does
a
it with me.
and that's such a simple thing that you can
Yeah.
use for anyone.
Yeah.
But when you're handling like teams and people,
Mhm.
and they come to you and complain or they're struggling with something,
Yeah.
you actually just communicate. Like, what are you trying to get from this? Are you actually trying to just for me to hear,
Right.
or do you want me to help you fix it?
Yeah.
And like, let's find a solution.
Because people have a different need every time.
Yeah, and I feel that's like one of the biggest
Mhm.
things that has helped me with the whole like management and leadership of so many different people
Yeah.
too, because they're all different.
Yeah.
If we're talking about the Enneagram, I have one of each number pretty much.
You do?
I don't have
I didn't
don't
realize.
have any repeat numbers.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting. You don't have more than 1 7?
No, I don't have any sevens.
Oh, our team is like 75% sevens or something.
I think I don't have any sevens.
Oh my gosh, that's shocking.
I know.
We need to look at that. Can that possibly be true? Like most people on the team are sevens, but then we do have like a fairly, maybe like about 2 or 3 of each other number. But, we're really big on the Enneagram. If you don't know what the
Oh,
Enneagram is, Google it.
Veronica's a seven, or is she?
Oh yeah,
only-
she is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
There you
she's 7.
go. Okay.
yeah.
I'll go 1-7.
Okay. At the laundromat.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I think
Yeah.
like when you're thinking about if you have a team and you're growing it and you're thinking about like, okay, now we need a manager, or maybe you have a bunch of managers and now we need a director level. If you're like me, then you're like, like because I've always hated the idea of like middle
and
managers
the corporates.
and just like a structure, like a
Yeah.
hierarchy sucks. And for years we didn't even have job titles, and I didn't even like,
Oh, I
anyway.
was in the middle of that because
Yeah.
I was for a while. I was kind of like given what title do you want, and I was like,
Yeah. Everybody
I-
could just make up their own
I
because I didn't
just-
care about it.
yeah, I just did a course on project manager. Well, can I get that? And you're like, yeah, that works. And I'm like, okay, I get to do whatever
Well,
I want.
Like there was a time where I took all the titles off the business cards. Like I wanted business cards with no titles.
Oh my god.
And then we did titles, but then it was like, oh, who cares? Like everyone just make up your own title. Anyway, we have rectified that, and I was wrong as always, or most of the time. And I do think that this whole like description of the process with Tuti, but just like in general for Abode,
Mhm.
it is um it's like proof positive that having those layers of management and directors, it really is helpful. Like today, Rob and I did a couple one-on-ones with some of the directors on the team. And, like, one of them is this guy that's worked for us forever in Jackson Hole. I think it's 11 years. So he was there was 2 first employees, and he was one of them. And he's not someone that likes, like, management structure or that you would think would like it, but we
Mhm.
made him the director for Jackson Hole, and he was even saying today how much he loves the new structure that we have and how much he thinks it's really helping his team and all the teams. And so Tootie is definitely proof that a good management and director structure really works in our industry. So if anyone is listening and like that's it, if anyone's listening, but also if anyone's listening and and they're like, "Oh, if you're thinking like maybe I want to have a management layer or a director layer or whatever," you can always call Tootie or me, but Tootie has like firsthand, she's like lived it, um, been through the development of that and then how it's worked out pretty well. And it's not perfect yet, like, we're still developing it, but
Yeah, no, and that's the interesting thing. So we're going into our busy season here in Park City, and I think this is going to be the moment that we're gonna
uh-huh.
get to see actually how this director level position, like level works,
Yeah,
and probably after this, we're gonna be able to like decide if we have to make changes.
I'm sure we'll have to, like, fine tune. We always have to
Yeah,
fine tune, I mean, but
yeah,
I think it's gonna help, don't you?
yeah.
Like, I feel like all the feedback I'm getting from everyone else and my personal opinion and Rob's when we talk is like, "Oh, this is good. This is gonna be really helpful."
I mean, if you think about it, how many people you had under you, and nobody
Right.
was getting like one on ones, or
No,
I mean, you also travel to like like
a million things.
a million things, yeah, and mostly for like the business,
Yeah.
and it's just like so hard for you to be able to be there for your team,
That's
like,
what we realized.
and now at least you can just like follow up with these 4 directors,
Yeah.
and it's like so much easier even for you
Yeah,
as a like owner of a company.
totally. Like, I'm in this mastermind group with a bunch of women that are running their vacation rental companies, and it's a bunch of women that have been doing this for a long time, and they're the coolest ladies. And, in talking with them, like, I get the feeling from some of them that reminds me of how I've always felt, which is kind of like, we can't afford a director level. It's kind of
Mm,
how I think in our industry, and it's not just these ladies, like, it's our industry and it's me, it's how Rob and I always felt too. Like, well, we're not a big company, we can't afford people who are just, like, managing other people and not, like, in it working too, because
yeah,
when you build a business from nothing and when you start doing everything yourself, and then as you grow, the idea of having someone who's just managing other people, it seems like a luxury, it seems like something that you could never afford because it seems like you could only have enough money in the business to like pay for people to do work with you,
yeah,
But it seems like to have people to just be managing other people, like that's for, Microsoft or like, you know what I mean? And literally that's how I thought. And I think a lot of people kind of feel like that because it
yeah,
just seems too expensive because you have to pay people more when they're at a director level. And then they're not gonna really have time to, like, be in the muck as much because they're kind of in the muck for other people, like,
mhm,
helping to support people. But what Tootie said a second ago is, like, the crux of it, which is, okay, yes, like, all of that may be true, but you know what else is true? When you have a team, when you get a team of, like, 20, 30, 40, 50 people, they need so much support, and, like, Rob and I could never
yeah,
offer it, and that's what became clear, is that, sure, we had some managers, but a lot of them. And so I think we had, like, 20 something direct reports, Rob and I did, when we
Jesus.
did the director level thing, and so what we realized is, like, we cannot support 22 people. Meanwhile, we had, like, 50 some people on the team. We definitely can't support them, and we went from a situation where everybody was always free to come and talk to Rob, call Rob and I, come and talk to both of us, whatever, anytime they wanted. Call us, come in our office, whatever. But then we got so busy and everyone else got so busy that the needs were so huge and our availability started to shrink and people just weren't getting the support that they needed. And that's when we realized, and really we didn't, Linny and Hart realized
Yeah.
it and pushed us on this, probably at the behest of like a lot of people on the team.
Yeah.
And it was like people needed more support and
Yeah.
they needed more and we couldn't give it. So there needed to be a director level. And we finally did it. And it's like they were right. Everybody was right except for me. And like this is working, I think, mostly. And of course, everything has to be fine-tuned over time. But like now it seems like, and I think you feel like this, we just
Yeah.
did our one-on-one today, and like people are getting the support that they need from you. And then you feel like, it's a lot for you because there's a lot of people, but hopefully we'll be able to fine tune over time and make it a little more equally distributed, which directors are covering which areas of the business, and make that a little more even over time. But for now, you've really taken a huge chunk of work and like made it look easy. It's kind of
I
crazy.
like it.
Yeah.
It's
No,
kind
you're
of
good at
addictive.
it. Yeah.
Well, and
No one's
just
stealing her, by the way, if you're listening. She's mine. Okay, go ahead.
and when you're saying support, I want to clarify that it's usually just being able to make decisions.
Yeah.
Because it's not just support, like being there and just watching someone work. Is sometimes someone needs a decision right now.
Yeah.
And if you guys are busy with something else or someone else, that decision process takes longer. So
Yeah.
like when you're trying to define these processes to make things better,
Mhm.
things get delayed and then the problems start arising.
Yeah.
And by having like 4 people in the office being able to respond to questions and being able to allow people to make those decisions
Or
by
to make
themselves.
you guys can make big decisions on your
Yeah.
own too. Yeah.
Because we all kind of have like an overall view of the business.
Mhm.
So we can even go back to you and just like, if you're not sure about something, if I'm not sure about something, I will go to
Yeah.
you right away and kind of like follow up with the person that's having an issue. But I think the support is always like being able to like make those decisions,
Mhm.
which I kind of like a lot. Like
Yeah.
it's being able to just like,
See,
okay,
not
stop it.
everyone likes that though,
Like I
Tuti,
just
like
I like checking
yeah,
checking
no,
my
I
list.
agree. And I'm an 8, right? I love to make decisions or tell someone else what to do or whatever, but I think not everyone likes that. And
Mhm.
that's why you need a director level too, is because a lot of people don't like making decisions. And when they're put in a situation where they have to, and if like Rob and I weren't there and we can't make it, they would stop right there and just wait.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then everything behind that will, cause a big backlog. And so having these directors and someone like Tuti who's willing to be like, yes, no, or whatever,
I'm not patient. That's why.
then it's like everything can keep moving,
Yeah.
and then the person that needs help with their decision, they feel so much more supported when otherwise they would have felt just like they were
I'm not
stopped.
seen, I'm
Mhm.
not
Yeah.
listening. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And so I think whatever, we've learned like a lot through this. I'm sure we're going to learn a lot more.
Oh, yeah.
But um it's been a big one, I think. And it's been like really cool to see the people that we put into director roles, and most of them have really like taken it, and they're just it's like really empowering them and really making them um a better player for their team. It's like making that part of the business stronger. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy how we held off on that for way too long, and I wish we didn't. So anyway, look at getting a director level. And if you feel like you could never do that, Linny and Hart they have been awesome. They're
Yeah.
worth all the money
And they've been a
to
great
help
support even
us.
for the directors to
Yeah,
be able, because I mean, none of us actually had like management experience to that level
right.
before.
I mean, not me either, or nor Rob. Like, that's always the funny part. It's like a
Yeah.
lot of people in vacation rentals, we're not here because we like strategically came up, like if you work in marketing, it's like maybe you worked at Leo Burnett and then you worked for
Yeah.
Coca-Cola and then maybe you worked for Hasbro or like, whatever. You like come up through these companies. But in vacation rentals, most of us came up because we were like, I have a vacation rental and okay, I'll manage yours too. And all of a sudden I'm managing 10 and 20. And then because of COVID and everything, now I'm
And
managing 200. And it's like not because we are geniuses at running a business or managing people. And so having support is like
I mean, and
everything.
for our team, it's like I want to live in a ski town in the mountains. I want to
Yes.
ski. I need a job.
Yeah.
And they might not
That's
have.
why most people are here
Yeah.
or in any of our markets.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I think it's the same even in like the Southeast. People move to a lot of those places, not necessarily for a job, but like because they want to live in that area of the country.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So before we started this, I told Tootie, like, I love to have, nuggets because I feel like we've
Hmm.
been giving a lot of secret sauce just now, but I love a nugget, like a chunk of like a specific tactical thing, that like you've learned from doing your job or jobs, um, that like we could share with anyone listening. And by that, I mean the one person, just kidding.
Rob.
My mom. And so, so did you have any
um,
nuggets to share?
so I was thinking about marketing, and I think the best way to make your marketing
Mm.
decisions is looking and watching what the people around you,
Mhm.
like your mom,
Yeah.
your sister, your husband, anyone, what do they do when they're receiving like marketing? You
Uh-huh.
know, when they're receiving emails, how do they respond in social media? How they interact when they're getting like SMS,
Mhm.
all that kind of stuff. And I feel that kind of led us to working with Attentive,
Uh-huh.
which actually they've been great. Like
Yeah, attentive has been amazing.
so just like in a month, we got so many like we were surprised by it. But everything came out from like, we start getting like messages
Yeah.
from other companies, like from your purse brand or
Yeah.
your shoes, like they will text you because
Yeah.
you left like something on the cart.
Yes.
And we were kind of like, okay, look at this. Like
Yeah.
people are actually taking action on this that is something not even related to our market, like our market
Totally.
or
Like, how many
industry.
times a day? I mean, I know for me, it's
Yeah.
probably 5 times a day at least. And if I'm shopping, like, if I'm actively shopping for something, it could be, like, 10 or 15 times in one day. Like, how many times, you have to think about it, are you online looking for something and you are like, it prompts you to put in your email, and then it'll prompt you to put in your phone number, and it'll send you that little text with a coupon?
Yeah.
I do it constantly, and I don't know if I'm, like, a weird Gen X person that, like, that makes me different than other people, but I always put in all that information.
I sometimes do it just to get the deal and see
That's
how big of
exactly
the
why.
deal can be.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so then what happened is I went to there's a conference, there's a group called Women Leading Travel and Hospitality. Have you, like, signed up and everything on that? Because you
I've been
should.
to one of the women's
Okay, like,
conferences. It was
oh,
really
oh,
good.
well, so okay, so this is interesting and confusing. So there's the Women's Vacation Rental Conference,
Yeah.
or it's like, I think it's from Amy Hinote,
It's
right?
usually next to like
Darm.
Darm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's like WVRM, I think is what it's called.
Sorry guys if you're
Yeah,
already.
sorry, I might have got that wrong, but,
Yeah.
so it's the Women's Vacation Rental Conference, it's every other year, like, you have to do that if you're a woman, like, you
Mm.
must, it's awesome. So, but this is different. So
Uh,
then there's another group, I'll try to send this to you, I thought I had, but I need to send this to you. It's called Women Leading Travel and Hospitality,
okay.
separate from VRMA, it's separate from, um, DARM and the WVRM, and it's more broad, and it's honestly, it's kind of more of a hotel group,
Okay.
but also there's some vacation rental stuff in there. So I went last year, trying to remember where the conference was. I think it was in Charlotte.
Okay.
Charlotte, West Virginia? Charlotte in a Carolina? I'm not sure. Okay, it was in Charlotte somewhere, Virginia maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Carolina? Okay, Helen is here with us, and I think she's telling us where it is. Anyway,
Our check.
Charlotte.
Fact check.
Okay, Charlotte, North Carolina? Okay. And so that's where the conference was. It was at a great hotel too. I can't remember what it was called. But anyway, it's all women in the travel space,
Yeah.
right? And when I was there, I met this awesome, awesome chick, and she was with Attentive, which is like a text messaging marketing company.
Yes.
And it really caught my attention because I was thinking, oh crap, like I fill out those text message like requests to put in your info to get a discount. I do that constantly. And I don't think that a lot of people in vacation rentals, like I don't think a lot of companies do it. And so I was like, she had a thing where we could use Attentive for I think a month for free to try
Yes.
it. And so I brought it back and everybody was kind of like,
Eh,
I think Tuti and
mhm.
Ashley, who's our marketing manager, and they
Very
were just kind
busy.
of like, I don't know. And I was like, well, it's free. Let's just try it. And because I said, I fill out that stuff all the time. So like, I
Yeah.
don't know, maybe I'm a weirdo. Anyway, we've been using it how long? 3 months?
Well, I think just like two or
2.
something.
Okay.
It
It's
has
been
been insane.
gangbusters. So go look up Attentive, and I'm sure there's a few companies. Maybe we'll see if we can put it in the show notes. I think we'll put in the show notes the link for Women Leading Travel and Hospitality, as well as the link for the Women's Vacation Rental Conference that's gonna be next year. And then we'll also put the link for Attentive text message marketing because game changer.
Yeah, and even our sales team is really excited and happy with it.
Really? Okay,
Which,
good.
making sales happy is always a challenge.
Yeah.
And from the marketing side, you always feel like,
Yeah.
sales is always trying to fight you.
I think most people in vacation rentals know, like,
Yeah.
you do all this marketing, but then your sales team's gonna kinda be like, "Okay, so, like, where's the
Where are my leads?
proof? Was
Yeah.
it happening or not?" And they're liking this, so that
Yeah.
means good things. Okay, wait, but I just totally did a rage move and squirreled off because you were originally talking about a specific story about attentive.
No, I think that was my nugget. Like,
Oh, okay.
just like looking at what other like don't think only for vacation rentals
Oh,
when you're
yeah.
thinking about marketing.
Mhm.
Think about, when you like a really nice brand, for example, like we're in the luxury brand
Yeah,
business, technically.
right.
So look how other luxury brands do it. Like
Mhm.
even like I'm obsessed with Ralph Lauren, for example.
Okay.
And I know that it's part of kind of like our whole anthology idea and brand is
We have a whole thing we've been working on for, like, 6 years, that's, like,
but
a separate category of our business called Abode Anthology, which is, like, our most primo amazing properties, but anyway, okay, so
But basically, how these other companies that you feel driven to,
mhm.
how they're handling their
Yeah,
marketing, and how can you implement it even if it doesn't look appropriate for your business,
yeah.
you can always make it work.
Yeah, well, or if you think like, "Well, no one else is doing this, so I don't then why would we?" And it's like,
Yeah,
"Okay, well, maybe everyone else just hasn't jumped on yet. Maybe we'll be one of the first ones to try it." And it seems like with this attentive that that's kinda what this is.
yeah. And the cart abandonment
Oh,
also
yeah.
works.
Okay, so that okay, cart abandonment, you're gonna correct me on this,
Yeah.
is something we've been wanting
Mhm.
Streamline slash I'm sorry,
Discord,
BizCore
yeah, for a
to
while.
add to our site for a while, and they didn't have it available the way we wanted it, right?
Yeah.
But now they created it for us?
No, it's true attentive.
Oh, it's through attentive.
Yeah.
Okay, so, like,
Because
that
that
is
way, so if we have their text, like their phone number or
uh-huh.
their email, we can just like go back and
Oh my gosh, I love it. See, okay, so, okay, that's a good one.
yeah.
Like,
And it even flags on Streamline, so it creates a flag on Streamline so we
automatically.
can see this lead came from
So Attentive's integrated with Streamline.
yeah,
Oh my god, that's, like, insane-o. Okay, see, that's a huge nugget. Attentive, text message, marketing, it can integrate with Streamline. Not only can you do, like, the typical text message marketing that we're all used to, but you can do it with cart abandonment. I knew I'd been seeing the emails
yeah,
go back and forth about how the cart abandonment is going really well.
yeah.
I was thinking that was through BizCore.
No, but and also when you're using Attentive, you have to make sure that you have someone focused on this. So right now, Ashley,
Okay.
she owns this project.
Okay.
She's constantly creating content and like making like keeping track of the analytical side of it
Yeah.
and making the decisions as it happens.
Okay.
Because you want to be able to like make the decisions as
Pretty
it
quickly,
goes.
almost like social media, you gotta kinda, like, jump
Yeah.
on it. Okay. Yeah, and
So
Ashley's, like, a social media guru, but we can do that. Maybe we can get her on the show one
that
time.
will be
I don't
fun.
know. I don't know if she'll do it. I don't know if she'd like that, but
Maybe this is the way to push
we could
her.
find, like, a way to bribe her. Yeah.
We
Okay.
should do a poll if you want
I
actually to talk about social media.
if we did a poll, do you think anyone would like, what could we do? I guess we could do a poll on LinkedIn.
Yeah, and maybe that
Yeah.
way we can push Ashley to
Yeah.
come and talk.
Okay. We could, like, put up the people on the team, like, pictures and be like, "Who do you want to be on next?"
That would be fun.
Okay, we're gonna do that. Helen, let's mark that down. Okay.
And
Helen's
this
the real brains behind this whole show, by the
and
way.
this is how the ideas happen in Abode.
Yes, it is.
Just like
Everything is
joking around.
organic. Yeah, when
Yeah.
I say the whole thing is organic,
Yeah.
I mean it. Okay, that was a good nugget. Attentive text message marketing, massive. Okay, what else you got?
Um I had something with like management, kind of like what we talked about before.
Okay.
Um a common thing that everyone says is I'm exhausted, I'm overwhelmed, I don't know, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
And there are a couple things that you can do with that team member is like first things first. Write down all the things that you're working on.
Yeah.
Put like your priorities, kind of like, is this a P0, P1,
Yeah.
P2, kind of like that. And then start putting dates on it.
Uh-huh.
Kind of like
Like
start
deadlines?
mm, I wouldn't say like hard deadlines, but think about it more of when do you want this done?
Okay.
Because usually when you will not have hard deadlines, I feel, in our industry.
Yeah, and also we're small business, so it's not
Yeah,
like
it's more flexible.
we try to
But
be
at the
flexible.
same time, it's kind of like people are waiting on you, so you have to be kind of responsible and
Mhm.
thoughtful of other people's time.
Yeah.
But kind of like setting times or even blocking your calendar, and you have to update all the guest guides,
Yeah.
right? How long it takes you or how much can you handle in a day. Okay, this is like a lot of brain power, so I can only do 2 hours per day of this type of
Yeah.
work. Okay, block 2 hours of your calendar,
Mhm.
So nobody can like book
Yes.
anything for you.
Yeah.
Nobody can just like walk into your door because they know you're busy.
Yeah, your
So like,
calendar will show unavailable.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that way, and also it makes you hold yourself accountable that you have that time block. So you have to do that because
Mhm.
that's the time that you schedule for that.
Yeah.
So just like making those like tricks on helping people get organized,
Time blocking. Yeah.
and that helps a lot to people to not get so overwhelmed because it gives perspective of
Mhm.
what actually are priorities and what not.
Yeah.
And just being able to put that boundary of, everyone always needs me. Okay, but unless a house is burning down,
Right.
they can wait an hour or two until you finish your task.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's
No, it's like
something so simple,
it's
but
so good
sometimes you
though.
just need to tell people,
Yeah.
you need to block your time. So otherwise, you're not going to get your things done. And that way, you're going to feel overwhelmed.
Yeah. Like you're the poster child for great management. I'm the poster child for bad time management. And and so I have never been able to do time blocking on my calendar, but now it's just done because my calendar is now just like wall to wall
Now
all
you
the
have
time. Yeah,
Helen.
and Helen has literally saved my life. But Rob, ever since I've known him,
Yeah, he
has done
does that.
this. So Rob doesn't do well, he does do to-do lists too. He writes in like this really small, messy, like doctor font, and he will like literally have like tiny little post-it notes where he'll write like massive amounts of it's really funny. I should take a picture and post it. But then what he graduated into was he'll go onto his calendar because we use Google email for our team
Mhm.
and also the Google Calendar. And so he'll just go in and fill his calendar like days in advance. Like at night, we'll be like laying in bed and he'll be like doing his calendar for like a few days out. And he'll be scheduling himself with everything that he needs to get done, whether it's like go work out, then get ready, then
Yeah.
whatever, whatever. Or like, and then he'll have like little to-do lists in his calendar block of like these 3 things in this hour or whatever.
Yep.
And he's way better at time management than I have ever been. So I think that's a totally good um way for people to like start because I will say, like, I get super annoyed when this is like a pet peeve for me when like people on the team, like let's say it's someone who's like maybe single, doesn't have any kids, and they're like, I'm so exhausted. I'm like dead. I don't know if I can go another minute. And I'm thinking, I'm here too, also working, and I have 3 kids, and I have this husband, and whatever, whatever.
2 dogs.
And that is so not nice of me and
Yeah.
like not appropriate because people's lives are busy, whether or not they have a spouse or children. Like that is just the wrong way to think about it. But I'm just admitting a fault of mine. And I do think though, I have not been a good supporter for my team to be able to help them when they say that kind of stuff. Number 1, because I'm triggered. And number 2, because I'm so bad at time management myself. So like again, another reason why director level and finding good people for your team is so important because then what we're doing is like finding people that maybe have strengths that we don't have. And so you're able to support the other people on a team that we would never be able to, and I think time blocking is a perfect example of that.
And time blocking kind of like for me also started by having Breezeway.
I love Breezeway. We all love Breezeway.
And Breezeway is pretty much the time blocking for our operations
Uh-huh.
team. So we give tasks and fill up their daily like
Yeah.
their calendar for the day.
Yeah.
And so they know what to do next. So think about it as, the same thing.
Task management.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even for our owners department,
Uh-huh.
Miles, he used to be in ops.
Yeah.
So he was putting his task in Breezeway
Uh-huh.
because he's so used to like,
Yeah.
blocking his calendar, blocking like next step, next task, what do I need to do next?
Yeah.
So it's just like that concept of being able to like manage
Totally.
your time.
It's so true.
It is
I use
important.
my calendar like that. If you sit outside my office or like around me at any time, I will, after I finish doing one thing, you will hear me. I say it like quietly to myself all day long. I'll be like, okay, what's next? And then I'll open my calendar and I literally say that to myself and look at my calendar because I can't remember like from 1 minute to the next what I have to do. But that's a perfect example because it's
Yeah.
like if people are feeling overwhelmed and if they're able to time block their calendar, then they're able to like get one thing done at a time, sit down, look at what's the next thing, get that done, keep moving.
Yep. Guess what? They feel like they're under control.
Yeah. And then you feel, even though you might have the same amount of stuff to do or
Yeah.
more, you feel more in control.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any more nuggets you want to share? I know we're like going over on time, but what does that even mean? We can talk as long as we want. There is no like
They're
time limit.
gonna shut us
Yeah.
down.
It's not like they're going to like cut off the show or something. I don't know. Maybe Will Slickers and his team, while they produce this, maybe they have like a time limit, but I don't think so. So,
I guess another thing you just mentioned that you felt triggered when people, when they say that they're exhausted
Yeah.
or something. And something that Rob said when we were in Phoenix, we were after our conferences, like after we were hanging out, everyone, we were at the Porsche,
Yeah.
and he was saying, when you actually feel triggered about something, it's
Mhm.
because your values got attacked.
A value violation.
By
This is from Linney and Hart. They taught us this. When
Yeah,
you feel triggered, it's because there's a values violation.
yeah.
Okay, talk about more. This is so good.
And so anytime that someone in our team or even myself, when
Mhm.
I find myself like I don't like a situation
Mhm.
or I'm not comfortable with something that happened or someone
Yeah.
saying something to me, I I step back and think maybe this is a value. What was it?
Values violation. Yep.
Values value. What?
Like a violation, right?
But
Like it's someone violating
yeah, that's
a
a hard word for
value.
my accent.
Is it?
So
I know, you're right. Okay, it's like someone
yeah,
stepping on your values.
yeah,
Yeah.
stepping on your values. I like that. So So, I don't know, I just think about that, and it kinda, like, also try to put it in perspective with the abode values, and be like, "Okay, this is my personal values being
Mhm.
stepped on. What about the abode values?
Yeah.
Is this also being stepped on, or is just something personal that is affecting
Ah,
me?"
yeah, yeah.
So, if it matches, like, both things, if it matches, like, the abode values and myself,
Mhm.
that will tell me, "Okay, this is not
Yeah.
gonna work."
Yeah.
But if it's something personal,
Uh-huh.
maybe as something that I have to work on myself,
Yeah.
because or bring it up like in a different type of
Like read a
conversation.
book about it or go to therapy.
Yeah,
My 2
exactly.
favorite answers to everything. Okay.
But basically that.
Yeah.
So for example, if you see someone that is not working, or they're complaining or things like that, it's like, well, I'm annoyed by this person, but I also see that above values is being resilient. So
Yeah.
that person is not showing being resilient because they're
Yeah.
not working hard like everyone else.
Yeah. Resilience is like I think so important in our industry, but that is one of our values.
So basically, that's when you can bring it up to like their manager or their director because
Yeah.
it kind of like matches your values and the company values.
Yeah.
But if it's something that is actually just affecting you, maybe find a different way to approach it because
Yeah.
it's not professional to
Right.
bring it up. Maybe something more personal for yourself.
Maybe it's like something that is some issue of like emotional maturity or whatever that
Yeah.
you need to work on, which we all have. And yeah, no, totally. That's a good point. Cause I do think it's hard. I don't know. It was hard for me to understand the difference between my values and our company values,
Mm,
because I was like, what's the difference? Like,
it's your
doesn't
baby.
everyone, well, but I also felt like, doesn't everyone have the same values? Like, don't we all want people to be honest and trustworthy? But then when we did the whole exercise with Linny and Hart, which is like this, I totally recommend hiring someone to help you do your company values. It doesn't have to be Linny and Hart, but like they're good at it.
But your team has to be part of it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's really important.
That's what we talked about in our session at
Yeah.
VRMA, but like, that whole excavation of your company values. But it does make a difference because it's like, yeah, we all have our individual values, but it's shocking. People have really different values.
Yes.
But then at work, you can get everyone, it is possible to get everyone mostly bought in to your company values. And then that's what allows for people like creating a director level for us, Rob and I to trust that people are going to make the decisions that we would hope they would make because now we know these people are bought in to these values that we all agreed upon together. We all came up with them together. And so then when people have to go make even really big decisions, even like really high dollar decisions or really impactful decisions for the company that like in the past we would have never thought about letting someone else make. Now it's like where I'm not even scared when people are going to make a decision and they're going to like check with me sometimes like, what do you think about this? And I'm like, you do whatever you want. Like I totally trust that people can do that. And I think that's like a rocket ship to the moon in terms of your business. Like being able, it's a huge jump for the
Trust.
business to be able to move forward more comfortably and efficiently when you can empower other people, which you can do when they have the right values. Oh my God, we covered like so much ground today.
Yeah.
I feel like
I'm
we
kind of
also came
tired.
up with like, right? It's exhausting being so informative and so good at conversation.
Oh boy.
Um, um, I feel like there was some other topics too that we came up with that we could have for other episodes, but then I never take
Yeah.
note of that. I don't know if Helen has noted some of it down. Okay, she says yes. Because
Thank you,
I
Helen.
feel like where would we be? Where would I be? Drowning in a sea of unresponded to emails. That's where I'd be.
Heaven is the
Okay.
heaven.
Okay, so I think we had a lot to offer here. I will recap a couple nuggets. Okay,
Okay.
so there's the nugget of attentive. text message marketing. Check that out. It's bonkers. It's so good. There's the nugget of a director level and how helpful that can be to a business, or management level, wherever, you're starting from. There's the nugget of allowing your team to have like creative career pathing, and allowing space for people that have unique capabilities and talents to find leadership roles within a company, and not that it doesn't have to necessarily take 10 years, depending on the person and the situation, like allowing for the right people to come in and to be in leadership roles, and to prove themselves in whatever time frame works for them. I think that's like proven. And I'm forgetting at the end. Then we talked about, what was it after attentive?
We talk about values.
The values, that was a big one. And there's something else I'm forgetting, but anyway, you'll just have to
time
go.
management.
Time management and time blocking. Okay, so that's huge.
Okay.
Yeah, I
We
still
got
don't.
a lot of things.
That was so much. We could like write a book just from this one episode. Okay, don't tempt me, because you know how I am about that topic. All right. And currently it's 4:44 p.m. I know this will
Make a wish.
air on some other day at some other time, but I love when I look at my phone or my watch and it's like 3:33 or 4:44. I think it means something. I don't know what, but I think it means that we're gonna have,
to go.
instead of 3 people, we're gonna have like 300 people listen to this episode. That's what I think it means. So manifest. Okay. All right. I think that's all we have.
Awesome.
So we'll come back another day with another episode with another amazing Abode team member. But for now, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on the Hospitality Breakroom.